everyone, and welcome back to the course Practical Ethical Hacking for Professionals with Projects. Today's lecture is going to be about setting up a hacking lab. First, I'll tell you the purpose of having a lab, then I'll talk to you about what you need to do to configure your hacking lab. Okay, so what is the purpose of having a lab? Why can't we just, do it on our own computers? Well, every good hacker needs a space to work, and having a hacking lab comes with a plethora of benefits. Hackers, even ethical ones, use programs that can sometimes be harmful to systems. Setting up a hacking lab can help prevent damage to your actual computer. To add on to that point, you never want to attempt to learn hacking on a live computer. You might unleash something on your network that you're not experienced enough to deal with. One benefit to having virtual machines is that you'll be able to break them down and rebuild them when needed. Tearing down and rebuilding a VM is much easier and less time-consuming than re-imaging your actual laptop or desktop OS. And finally, even expert hackers will use labs for testing out new tools and tricks rather than using their main system. Labs can be anything that you want them to be, but for this course, I'm going to help you set up a basic hacking lab for learning. This is a lab setup that I use myself, and I know other security professionals with the same lab setup. It's all free and easy to install. For this setup, you'll need VirtualBox and the VirtualBox extension pack, Kali Linux, and Metasploitable 2. If you choose to continue pursuing ethical hacking, it might be worth the investment to add additional machines, such as Windows PCs and servers, to your lab, but for now, this lab is free to build and it only takes a few simple downloads. We're going to be using VirtualBox to build your lab. VirtualBox is a free-to-use product and it's great for building a hacking lab. You're able to run many virtual machines on one computer with VirtualBox. As I mentioned earlier, it's best to use virtual machines for hacking machines rather than physical ones. An alternative to VirtualBox would be VMware. But for these videos, I'll be showing you how to use VirtualBox only. You can download VirtualBox at virtualbox.org. We'll also need to have an extension pack downloaded as well, but I'll show you how to do this when we go through the lab walkthrough video. Kali Linux is a hacker's best friend. It's an open source project that is built for security. Kali Linux was built by the company Offensive Security. And Offensive Security is also the organization for the OSCP, OSWE, and OSEE, which are a few highly recognized certifications in the industry. Offensive Security is a great resource, and if you've never heard of them, you should certainly take some time to look through their website. Kali Linux is a Debian-based Linux distribution. This means that it will be best if you familiarize yourself with the Linux operating system and at least have a basic knowledge of Linux commands. Kali is used for many different security tasks, including penetration testing, security research, computer forensics, and reverse engineering. Kali has many built-in tools for security, including Metasploit, Nmap, and ReconNG, and you can read more about these tools on kali.org. And actually, I just want to bring this website up to show you kind of all of the tools that are either installed with Kali or that can be added. So once you get to this website, you can simply click on this tools option. And you can see all of the different tools, and they're broken up into different categories. So information gathering, vulnerability analysis, wireless attacks, etc. And if you were to go ahead and actually click on the name of the tool, you can read a little bit more about it. So this is a really great resource if you are planning to do a lot of work with Kali, because you can learn about all the different tools. So keep that in mind, tools.kali.org. And Kali Linux can be downloaded straight from the offensivesecurity.com website. Okay, Metasploitable 2. Metasploitable 2 is not Metasploit. Metasploit is a tool, and it is not the same thing. Metasploitable 2 is a purposely vulnerable virtual machine that can be used for testing purposes. Now, you don't want to have a Metasploitable 2 machine just chilling on your network. This machine is meant to provide a target for hacking. So you want to be careful what you do with this. And you can download Metasploitable 2 from one of two places, either Rapid7 or SourceForge.net. Today I'll be doing a step-by-step walkthrough of setting up your hacking lab. The first step of setting up your lab is to download and install VirtualBox and the extension pack. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. The first thing you need to do is you need to open an internet browser and navigate to www.virtualbox.org. This is what it should look like, and you're going to click on the giant box in the middle that says Download VirtualBox. From here you have a couple of different options. If you're working on a Windows machine like I am, you're simply going to click Windows Host. But if you're working on a Mac, you can use OS X. If you're working on Linux, you can click Linux distributions. I'm using Windows, so I'm just going to click this one. Now, to save time, I actually already have this downloaded, so I'm not going to download it again. But if you get a message like this, simply click Keep, and it will download, and it will show up in your Downloads folder. So let me pull up my downloads. So as you can see here, I already have the VirtualBox installer here. So I'm just going to double click it to run it. The installation for VirtualBox is really simple. You're basically just going to keep all of the default settings and just click Next and install. Next, next. If you don't want a shortcut on the desktop, you can uncheck these boxes. That doesn't really bother me, so I'm just going to leave it as is and click Next. It says that it could possibly take down your network briefly, so if you are in the middle of something online, be sure to save before you do this, but I've never actually had a problem with it breaking anything before, so I'm just going to click Yes. And finally, I'm going to click Install. Now, the installer can take a few minutes, so while that is installing, I'm going to show you where to download your extension pack from. So go back to the VirtualBox page where you downloaded the installer before. You're going to scroll down to right here where it says VirtualBox Older Builds, and you're going to click the VirtualBox Older Builds link. VirtualBox 6.0 is what we installed, or at least what I installed. But you're just going to pick whichever VirtualBox option that you have installed. And then you're going to look for the one that says Extension Pack. And that's going to download, and that's also going to show up in your Downloads folder. So let's go ahead and check on my install and see how it's going. This could take a few minutes, so I'm going to let it finish up and I will be right back. Alright everyone, I am back and I have just finished installing VirtualBox. So this is what the VirtualBox Manager looks like. The first thing we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to install that extension pack that we downloaded earlier. So let me show you how to do that. We're going to navigate up here to the File tab. And then we're going to click on Preferences. Next, we're going to choose the extensions option. And then we're going to click this little blue box with a plus sign on it. You're going to need to navigate to your downloads folder or wherever you put your extension pack. Select it and click open. You're going to get a message telling you that you're going to install the extension pack. Just click install. You're going to have to scroll to the bottom of this little license message and click I agree. Once the extension pack has been installed, you'll receive this little box that says it was installed correctly. Go ahead and click OK. And you can click OK. So that's all for VirtualBox. Okay, now that we've taken care of VirtualBox and its extension pack, we can move on to the next step. Step 2 is to download Kali Linux. Kali Linux can be downloaded from offensive-security.com. If you go to the main page, you can simply look for Kali and More, then Kali Linux Downloads, and choose the Virtual Images option. Once you're on the Virtual Images page, you can scroll down. You'll see options for VMware as well as VirtualBox. For this course, we'll be using VirtualBox, so you're going to want to choose this tab. You can start the download by simply clicking on the name. We're going to use Kali Linux VirtualBox 64-bit OVA. This download can take some time, so you may want to start it and go do something else while it downloads. I have actually downloaded this so that we don't have to wait, so I'm actually going to cancel out of these for now. Step 3 is to create a Kali Linux virtual machine within VirtualBox. This is very simple to do. So what you're going to do is you're going to navigate to your downloads folder or wherever you have downloaded Kali Linux, and you're just going to double click on the name. You can leave all of these settings what they are by default, and you can click import. It could take some time to import my virtual disk settings, so I'm going to stop the video and come back when it's finished. Okay, once the image is imported, you should see on the left your new Kali Linux box. I'm going to go ahead and click on this and click Start. Okay, so you should see a message that your VirtualBox is starting, and if you don't click anything after a few seconds, this will eventually load. Alright, the default username for Kali Linux is going to be root, and the password is going to be root backwards, so TOOR. And there you go, we have a working image of Kali Linux. So as you can see, there are tons of pre-built-in tools in Kali Linux for ethical hacking, and we're going to talk about some of them later on in the course. But for now, we just wanted to make sure that you got your image up and running. All right, so let's go back over here. Next up, we have step 4, download Metasploitable 2. There are 2 different places that you can download Metasploitable 2 from, but I'm going to download it from sourceforge.net/projects/Metasploitable. You can just click this download link and it will start downloading immediately. Again, I didn't want to waste any time, so I have actually already downloaded this, so I'm just going to cancel out of it and go to my downloads folder. Metasploitable downloads in a zip file, so you're going to need to be sure to extract it before accessing it and creating your virtual image. So that brings us to our last step. Create a Metasploitable 2 virtual machine in VirtualBox. Okay, so let's create a Metasploitable virtual image in VirtualBox. Go ahead and bring up your VirtualBox manager. I'm also going to bring up my downloads folder. Remember, you need to make sure that you extract the Metasploitable zip folder. So I have it here, and I'm just going to go in here and double check that I see the VMDK file. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to click this new option at the top of the VirtualBox manager. I'm going to name this Metasploitable. You can leave the machine folder to whatever it is set to by default. The type of machine is going to be Linux, and I'm just going to leave the version as is. Now we can go ahead and click Next. We can leave the memory size to whatever it's set to by default. When you get to the hard disk option, you're going to choose Use an existing virtual hard disk file. Now we need to navigate to that Metasploitable file. So go ahead and click this folder. You may need to choose this Add option. And I'm just going to navigate to my downloads, Metasploitable, and I'm going to choose that VMDK file. Now I can go ahead and hit Open. I'm going to make sure this is selected and click Choose. Now we can create the virtual machine. Okay, so you can see that my Metasploitable virtual machine has been created. So I am going to go ahead and start it up. Alright, we can see that Metasploitable is booting up right now. Do. Okay, once it is finished booting up, you'll see this fun Metasploitable banner, and you'll see that it actually gives you the admin username and password, which is msfadmin and msfadmin. Okay, so that's it. You now have a Metasploitable virtual machine and a Kali Linux virtual machine inside of VirtualBox. So this is going to be your hacking lab.